You were never really taught how to suffer. No one gave you a manual on what to do when life doesn't go your way. They just told you to be strong, or worse, stay positive. But let's be honest. There are days when everything feels too loud. The pressure, the failure, the silence, the pretending, and all you really want is some peace. Not the fake kind, not the motivational quotes or the toxic positivity, but the kind of peace that sits quietly with your chaos and doesn't ask you to fix it. See, most of us think strength means pushing through, suffocating your emotions, grinding harder, pretending nothing hurts. But what if strength isn't about controlling the storm? It's about not letting it control you. What if peace doesn't come from escaping life's mess, but from learning how to stand still inside it? For over 2,000 years, there's been a way, a path walked by warriors, emperors, and ordinary people who faced unthinkable pain and still found calm. It's not a religion. It's not therapy. It's not a self-help trend. It's a mindset, a compass, a quiet rebellion against everything that's been stealing your peace. It's called Stoicism. And no, it's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about learning to feel deeply without being ruled by what you feel. It's about acting with intention when the world pushes you to react. And it's about building a kind of power no one can see, but everyone feels when they meet you. Maybe the world won't change, but maybe you can. Let's talk about that. Life has a way of throwing things at you, things you never asked for, a delay, a rejection, a sudden silence from someone who used to mean everything. And before you know it, you're spiraling. We all do it. We fight things we can't control. We try to change the traffic, the weather, the past, the people. We waste our peace on things that were never ours to fix. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There are only two kinds of things in this world. Things you can control and things you can't. And the moment you start living like that's true is the moment you get your power back. Because here's what no one tells you. Control is an illusion, except when it comes to yourself, your actions, your attitude, your focus. That's the territory you own. You can't control whether people like you, but you can control whether you show up with integrity. You can't control the chaos outside, but you can control whether it enters your mind. Epictetus, a man who was born into slavery, said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's not just philosophy. That's freedom. Because when you stop giving energy to things outside your hands, you have more to give to what's actually in them. Like the way you speak to yourself, the way you choose your next move, the way you sit in discomfort without letting it destroy you. Control isn't about being rigid. It's about being responsible for the only domain that's truly yours, your inner life. And it's from that place, right there, that calm begins to grow. Not as a mood, but as a practice, a way of being in the world. So next time something shakes your peace, ask yourself the question Stoics lived by. Is this within my control? If it's not, release it. If it is, own it. Simple, not easy, but life-changing. Some people break when life gets hard. Others build. The difference isn't strength, it's mindset. Most of us grow up fearing obstacles. They look like failure. They feel like rejection. So we run, we avoid, we pray for an easier path. But what if that resistance was actually the training ground? What if every closed door, every setback, every curveball life throws wasn't there to stop you but to shape you? Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not motivational fluff. That's someone who lost children, led armies, buried friends, and still chose to see meaning in the mess. This isn't toxic positivity. It's not pretending life is fair. It's the radical shift of asking not, "Why me?" but, "What can this teach me?" Because here's the truth. You don't become wiser from comfort. You don't grow from things going your way. You grow from facing what scares you and doing it anyway. So no, you're not weak for struggling. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're being forged. Obstacles are not interruptions. They are invitations to learn, to stretch, to become. Think of the last time life hit hard. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you were misunderstood. Maybe you failed publicly. That moment hurt, yes. But didn't it also open something? Didn't it show you what mattered? Didn't it teach you something you couldn't have learned any other way? Pain always comes with a lesson. And if you're brave enough to stay with it, to sit in it, to ask it questions, you'll find the wisdom you've been searching for. This is what Stoicism offers. Not comfort, but clarity. Not escape, but endurance. Not avoidance, but alignment. So next time life knocks you down, don't just get back up. Get back up differently. Get back up aware. Get back up wiser. Get back up with eyes wide open, knowing that the obstacle was never in the way. It was the way. We spend so much time, anywhere but here, replaying what went wrong, worrying about what might, gripping memories, chasing futures, all while missing the only place life ever actually happens, now. It's strange, isn't it? You're breathing. The sun is hitting your skin. Someone just smiled at you. And yet, your mind's already left the room. We scroll through screens, multitask everything, eat without tasting, walk without noticing. We live like we're rushing somewhere more important than the moment we're already in. But here's the quiet truth. There is no better moment coming. No someday that's promised. This, what you're living right now, is it. And if you don't choose to be present for it, you'll miss your whole life while it's happening. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." That's not just poetic. It's survival. It's sanity. It's how you reclaim your life from the storm inside your head. Because when you're here, really here, life softens. You breathe deeper. You notice beauty in the ordinary. You realize this cup of tea, this quiet walk, this messy conversation, this laugh, this breath. This is life. Not the highlight reel, not the someday goals, but the raw, unfiltered presence of being. And the more present you are, the less you need to escape. You don't need a perfect life. You just need to show up for the one you have. Not later. Not when things get easier. But now. So take this moment. Breathe into it. Let it matter. Let it be enough. Because this moment, this one right here, is the only real thing you've ever had. When you hear the word discipline, what do you feel? Restriction? Rules? Punishment? That's what we've been taught. That discipline is about denying yourself, living rigid, removing all pleasure. But that's not discipline. That's control used as a weapon. True self-discipline isn't punishment, it's power. It's the quiet courage to choose long-term peace over short-term pleasure. It's about saying yes to the life you really want and no to the distractions trying to steal it. Because let's be real, you can scroll for hours, drink to numb, spend money to feel something, but none of that gives you freedom. It gives you escape, and escape always costs more than it gives. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is wanting what aligns with who you are. And getting there, that takes discipline. Not the aggressive kind, not the kind that shames you when you slip, but the kind that waits, that forgives, that shows up again and again, because it remembers who you're trying to become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Seneca said, "True freedom is the mastery of self." That's what discipline really is. Not restriction, but alignment. A way to live in sync with your values, your goals, your truth. You want to feel proud of yourself? Keep the promises you make to yourself, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Skip the scroll, finish the workout, write one paragraph, drink water instead of wine, turn off Netflix when it's time. Every small win is a vote for the person you're becoming. And the best part? Discipline compounds. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Not because the task changes, but because you do. Self-discipline isn't a burden. It's the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. So next time your mind says, "This doesn't matter," or "I'll do it later," remember who you're building and show up for that person again and again and again. There's a story you've been told. That strength means silence, that if you feel too much, you're weak, that emotions are distractions, interruptions, flaws. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are messengers. They don't need to be suppressed. They need to be heard. Feeling isn't the problem. Reacting blindly to feelings, that's what steals your peace. You can feel angry without being cruel. You can feel hurt without becoming bitter. You can feel fear and still move forward. That's emotional resilience. Not being tough, not bottling everything up, but having the strength to sit with discomfort without letting it drive the car. The Stoics weren't stone statues. They were warriors, leaders, people like you who knew pain, loss, betrayal, and still chose to stay steady. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. That includes the storms inside you." Seneca believed that pain is a test of our character, and Epictetus reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond. They never said, "Don't feel." They said, "Don't be owned by what you feel." You are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are not your anxiety. You are the one watching it, choosing what happens next. And that power, the space between feeling and reaction, is where freedom begins. But how do you build it? Start by noticing. Before you react, pause. Name what's happening. Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it loneliness? Name it, and it shrinks. Ignore it, and it grows. Then, breathe. Not to erase the feeling, but to give yourself time to choose a wiser response. Emotional resilience is a practice. You don't get it right every time, but every time you try, you build something stronger inside. So next time you're overwhelmed, remember, you are allowed to feel. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to be angry. But you are also allowed to choose calm, to choose clarity, to choose kindness, even in pain. Strength isn't being unshaken. It's being able to shake and still stand. That's what makes you powerful. Not the lack of feeling, but the depth of your understanding. You will die. Not someday, but eventually. and no one knows when. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because we live like we're immortal, like we have unlimited time to forgive, to create, to speak, to love. But we don't. And pretending otherwise is the fastest way to waste the life we've been given. The Stoics had a name for this truth. Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. Not to be morbid, but to be clear. About what matters. About what's worth your time, your attention, your heart. When you remember death, you don't waste hours arguing online. You don't hold grudges for years. You don't scroll past the people you love. You look at your life and ask, am I living the way I'd be proud to die? Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't darkness. It's light. It's focus. It's how you filter noise from meaning. It's how you decide to call your father, to say, I'm sorry, to start the project, to stop pretending. Seneca said, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Memento Mori doesn't ask you to obsess over death. It asks you to stop postponing life. Because what if this is the only chance you get to tell the truth, to build something meaningful, to look someone in the eyes and say, I love you? We all fear death. But the real fear should be reaching the end and realizing you never really lived. So let this be your reminder, not to panic, but to prioritize, not to dread the end, but to be deeply present in everything that comes before it. Let death be your compass, not your cage. Gratitude has been turned into a slogan, a morning checklist, a forced smile. But real gratitude isn't always pretty. It doesn't mean you're happy all the time. It doesn't mean you ignore pain. It means you see clearly, even when life is hard. It's waking up to the fact that not everything is promised. Not everyone gets another chance. Not every breath is guaranteed. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still able to try, still being given another day to speak, to choose, to begin again. Gratitude isn't a mood. It's a mindset. It's the decision to look at what you have before obsessing over what you don't. Because let's be honest, you can always find something missing, but you can also always find something real. Seneca said, nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Not because it's polite, but because it's powerful. A grateful heart endures more, bends without breaking, feels joy deeper because it knows what it's like to lose. Gratitude is resilience in disguise. It says, this may not be perfect, but it's mine, and I'm here for it. It's the quiet moment when you look at someone and feel lucky they exist, even if you never say it out loud. It's the exhale after pain, when you realize you're still standing. It's not passive. It's active recognition that even in chaos, there's beauty. Even in loss, there was something worth loving. Gratitude doesn't fix everything. It doesn't mean you settle, but it gives you the strength to keep going without bitterness. It roots you. It reminds you. There's always something solid beneath your feet if you're willing to notice. So if today feels hard, try saying this, even quietly. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for one more try. Thank you for what I still have. Because that's how it begins, not in grand declarations, but in whispers. In a world that rushes, waiting, feels like weakness. We're told to move fast, chase fast, fix fast, win fast. But some things can't be rushed. Growth, healing, wisdom, they need time. And that's where patience comes in. Not passivity, not inaction, but the strength to stay when things don't move on your timeline. to show up again and again, even when nothing seems to change, even when results don't show up yet, even when no one claps for your effort. That's patience. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't expect Plato's Republic. Be satisfied if even a small step forward happens." Seneca said, "Time discovers truth." But the modern world tells you, if you're not there yet, you're failing. That if it takes too long, it must be wrong. Some of the most powerful transformations happen quietly, slowly, below the surface. A seed doesn't bloom because you shout at it. It blooms because it was given space, water, light, time. And so do you. Your mind needs patience to let wisdom settle. Your heart needs patience to mend from pain. Your body needs patience to regain strength. Everything real takes time. So if you're in the middle of something, some healing, some building, some becoming, and it's not happening fast, don't quit, don't rush, don't panic. Trust the pace, trust the process, even if it's silent. Because true patience isn't waiting for things to change. It's learning how to stay present while they do. Kindness is not soft. It's not weak. It's not naive. It's one of the hardest things to choose when the world teaches you to close off, to shut down, to strike back. It takes strength to stay kind when you've been hurt. It takes wisdom to respond with calm when you're provoked. It takes courage to care again after being disappointed. Kindness isn't about letting people walk over you. It's not about saying yes to everything. It's about holding your power and using it to protect, not punish. Kindness is the quiet choice to still see humanity in someone who doesn't deserve it. To show up, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Marcus Aurelius said, "Kindness is invincible if it's genuine. Not performative, not people-pleasing, but real, rooted in self-respect, because when you're truly strong, you don't need to dominate, you don't need to prove. You choose to be kind because cruelty is easy, and you're done choosing what's easy. Kindness is when you hold the door open even when no one says thank you, when you stay patient with someone who's lost in their own pain, when you walk away instead of escalating. It doesn't make you a saint. It just means you're free. Free from the cycle of resentment. Free from letting other people's actions decide who you become. In a world where everyone is angry, kindness is rebellion. So be the one who still believes there's another way. Even if no one sees it. Even if it doesn't come back to you. Even if it hurts sometimes. Because kindness is not a transaction. It's a statement. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. But we don't always want to hear them. We fill our days with noise, notifications, arguments, background distractions, because silence forces us to feel, to face, to listen. And sometimes, that's the scariest thing. But the Stoics knew, without silence, there is no wisdom, no clarity, no growth. Because only in silence do we hear the real questions. Am I living the way I want to? Am I being honest with myself? Am I avoiding something because it's uncomfortable? Silence doesn't judge you. It reflects you. It's a mirror, not a punishment. And the longer you sit with it, the more it shows you. Not instantly, not loudly, but with slow, quiet honesty. In silence, you begin to notice your breath, the tightness in your chest, the thoughts you've been running from. And that's not weakness, that's awareness. In a noisy world, choosing silence is an act of rebellion, an act of courage. It's the space between reaction and response. It's the moment where ego softens and truth steps forward. You don't have to meditate on a mountaintop. Just stop, breathe, be still, let the world keep spinning. You don't have to chase it. Because the most important voice you'll ever hear is the one that speaks when everything else goes quiet. Most of what happens in life is not in your control. The weather, other people's opinions, delays, rejections, illness, the past. And yet we grip them tight, as if holding harder could fix them. We stay up at night replaying what went wrong, wondering what we could have said differently, what we should have done, what they should have done. And we suffer. Because resistance is a form of attachment. Trying to control what's not ours is like trying to hold the ocean in your hand. You end up soaked, exhausted, and still empty. The Stoics said it simply, there are things you can control and things you can't. Your thoughts, your actions, your values, these are yours. Everything else isn't. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Letting go isn't giving up. It's choosing peace over control. It's saying, I can't change what happened, but I can change how I live with it. It's allowing things to unfold without trying to force them. It's forgiving the past without rewriting it. It's being okay, even if it's not okay. Because peace doesn't come when life becomes perfect. It comes when you stop needing it to be. So if something is breaking your heart right now, and it's out of your control, let go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more. Letting go is how you come back to yourself. You've walked through pain, through doubt, through silence, through growth. You've sat with the hard questions. And maybe you didn't get every answer, but that was never the point. You didn't come here to escape life. You came to see it clearly, to stop reacting and start responding, to understand that control is not about force, but about choosing wisely where your energy goes, to realize that peace is not what happens to you, but what you choose within you. And in that choice, you're free. So now the question is yours. What are you still carrying that you were never meant to hold? Let it go. And if this journey spoke to you, leave a comment. Share this with someone who's still searching. And remember, he is most powerful who has power over himself. Seneca.